dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
It has been about 1 month since we have seen racing action from the Western States Racing League, but tonight we return for season number 48 and season number 6 right here on Sim Racing Media, and we open from the Dover Motor Speedway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, my broadcaster, Mike Demoni. Mike, it's been about 1.5 years since I've broadcasted one of these races. As I told you off air, it feels so strange to be back calling one of these races, and I couldn't be happier to be broadcasting them with you.
Definitely glad to have you back. It's been quite a while since we worked together. Glad we went out and brought the best in to broadcast this Western States Racing League and give these guys the show they deserve.
Well, it's not just, it's going to be a season full of memories, just as the previous 47 have. Working on beginning our the series 24th year of Western States Racing. Again, this series began in 1999 and all the way until 2023. And Mike, I even said it to you before, I couldn't imagine being in a league for 24 years and how long that is and all of the racing that has come with it.
No, there's no way. I don't think I could put up with anybody for 24 years without having some issue or some problem or something where I'd just have to leave for a while. But a lot of these guys were here from the beginning. I mean, you look at some of the race stats over the years. I mean, these guys are getting close to 500 races together. So, I mean, that's just remarkable in itself.
And here is one of the guys that has been here from the early 2000s, Brian Barnes, multiple-time series champion here. He was the champion the first year that we did broadcasts here for this series. Currently the 10th quickest man on the circuit right now with just over 2 minutes to go here in this practice session. And so while things stay the same, they also tend to change. Still running the Truck Series on Tuesday night and still running the Cup Series on Friday night. However, Tuesday night has gotten a big change. If you would have seen the broadcast that we had scheduled for the season, that is not a mistake. Half of this season is going to be run in the trucks, and the second half of this season is going to be run in the Xfinity cars. Now, the first 2 races are going to be truck, the next 2 will be Xfinity, and then back to the truck for 2, Xfinity for 2, and so on and so forth throughout the rest of this season. So that brings a completely different dynamic to these Tuesday night races.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, will we see the same domination from Glaser that we've seen the last 4 years now? Or is somebody else going to be able to take the Xfinity cars and maybe make up a little bit of that ground?
We had mentioned you just mentioned the domination of Bentley Glaser. He has won the championship in this series 4 times. Now, that is not a record. Bob Beltrami won this championship 6 straight seasons, so 3 consecutive years he had won this championship. Glaser going for number 5. One thing that is getting close to setting a record is the fact that in the first year and in the last year, he has won both the Tuesday and the Friday night championships. No other driver, at least from what I've been able to see, has done that 3 times in such a short span.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of either. So it's definitely going to be something to watch out for. Have some little bit of different racing on the tracks, but you see that Friday night is the Cup Series, so if they can take their Cup Series prowess and turn it into maybe some Xfinity prowess, you never know what you'll get on track.
Yep, it should be a very fun season, and so glad to be back again for season number 6 here on Sim Racing Media, season 48 for the Western States Racing League, getting set to kick off. But before we do that, we must run qualifying, and that is exactly where we are right now. About to take qualifying. The first driver out onto the racetrack this season will be the 26 of Christian Bishop. Returning for yet another season, Earl Weaver out on track. David Weaver on track as well. So is Wayne Hutchinson. Only those 4 drivers have gotten out onto the racetrack here in the early stages of this qualifying session.
Yeah, Christian Bishop last year came out and won a couple road courses. Kind of came in as a road course ringer because those were the tracks where we always saw him run up front and run very well. We'll see if he's able to have something here at Dover.
I remember running up against him last season in my grand experience of 2 races last season with these guys. Christian Bishop is not an easy cookie to crack. He is a very difficult driver, but very fair when you're racing around him. And right now he has set the fastest time in this qualifying session thus far at a 23.20. Wayne Hutchinson coming in just a couple of hundredths of a second off of him. Bishop, though, looking like he's going to set the fastest lap yet again.
Yeah, is able to maintain that speed and takes a couple hundredths off that time there. Wayne Hutchinson getting back to him and will best him get a 23.13. So he's sitting up top right now after 2 laps in.
Rob Gall on circuit right now at 23.60 his first lap. In the Fujifilm number 31 Chevrolet Silverado, Paul Crumry crossing the line, 4th quickest on his second attempt. Rob Gall, fastest of all, second half of the lap. That'll move him up to 3rd at a 23.23. Good run for him, and now here comes the Bucky's number 22 of Javier Torres.
Yeah, Torres going to come through, finish his second lap. Move him up into fourth place with the 23.32. Still waiting on about half the field here to make their way back out of make their way on track. Earl Weaver finished in lap 2.
Charles Woods coming up on lap 2 as well. 23.30. His first lap was good enough to put him fourth quickest in the United States Postal Service Chevrolet. And Woods way off on his second lap. 23.76 was his second lap time.
It looks like he got a little bit loose coming out of 2 there and kind of slowed him down.
Jeff Hollingsworth on track, Dennis Fuson, Bob Beltrami, Troy Campbell. The next set of guys on track. As we know, Jeff Hollingsworth, quality of racing that he brings every single week as well in that Coast Guard Chevrolet. Cup Series champion 2 of the last 3 years. 24.10, his first lap, good enough for 10th at the moment.
See if he's going to be able to go a little bit quicker this time. We've seen almost everybody improve second time round. He gets to the start-finish line, and he is quickest on track with a 23.03.
A full 10th. Jeff Hollingsworth takes pole. Bob Beltrami on his second lap, a 23.37 was what he did on lap 1. Lap 2, we'll see a 23.17, fourth quickest for the 14. Dennis Fuson, fifth quickest on track. And right now, of all the drivers on track right now, they have completed their laps. 14 drivers have qualified. Heavy hitters such as Jeff Schmeier, Kyle McCartney, Fred Williams, Ross Rawlings, Bentley Glaser, Ryan Steele, Brian Barnes have not yet gone out to qualify. Here is the 718 of Angelo Espo jumping out on track. And a somber paint scheme on that truck tonight. After such a good start to the NFL season for the New York Jets, eliminated from playoff contention after last week, and as a Giants fan, I can't say I'm all that disappointed.
Yeah, Angelo always comes out and rocks that Jets paint scheme, so I guess with you got to stick with the team. At least he sticks with his team.
As a Met fan, an Islander fan, and a Knicks fan, you don't have to preach to me about sticking with my team through bad times. As Angelo Espo, first lap did not count for him. Ross Rawlings on track right now, goes third quickest on his very first lap. His first lap is the fastest first lap of all. Well, it was until Ryan Steele put his down. Ross Rawlings went at 23.14, Steele at 23.12. Those were first laps.
Yeah, Espo got down into the apron there, so that probably isn't going to count that lap as well. Steele coming to the start-finish line. See if he's going to better that time. He does, but not quick enough to catch Hollingsworth. 23.06.
Betters the time, but not his position. Ross Rawlings losing it on his second lap, so he does not get a second opportunity at a pole. It's the 85 of Eric Woods in his Ford F-150. Keith Kellman on track as well. Kellman just starting his first lap in the number 07. As Woods' first lap for him, we'll see him sit 7th at a 23.21.
And these guys that haven't taken qualifying laps had better make up their mind in a hurry with only 3 minutes left here in the qualifying session.
They're still close. They can still make it, get both laps in. It'll only take about a minute or so. As Woods slower on his second lap. Here's Keith Kellman, the only other driver on track right now. Wayne Fleet is sitting on pit road. However, he has not rolled. No, there he goes. So Wayne Fleet in the 6 will be out on track any second now, as Kelman, he as well goes slower, about a tenth slower on his second lap. As here comes Wayne Fleet, and he is the only other driver on circuit right now. Again, guys like Fred Williams, Jeff Schmeier, Brian Barnes, Kyle McCartney, James Campbell, Bentley Glaser, those are the drivers that have not set a qualifying time nor have attempted to set a qualifying time. Angelo Espo has attempted his qualifying run and did not get a valid lap time in.
Looks like Schmeier's going to be getting ready to go.
Schmeier rolling out on track right now as Wayne Fleet completes his first lap of qualifying. 23:68 for Wayne Fleet. Fleet personal best in the first half of the lap. We'll see if he can bring that back on his second lap. Very solid through 3 and 4. And he'll jump up to 11th of 23:30.
Not too bad at all.
As Jeff Schmeier jumps onto the racetrack, the 20th driver to take time here in qualifying. And from what it looks like, he will probably be the last one to get both laps in. 23:23 on his first attempt. Puts him just about even with Dennis Fuson and Rob Gall. Second lap for Schmeier. Coming to the line, faster than his first. And it'll be a 23:05 front row start for Jeff Schmeier.
And that looks like that's going to about do it for qualifying with only 30 seconds remaining.
Yes,
Top 3 drivers separated by, what, 0.03 of a second?
Yeah, just about. Hollingsworth on pole for the opening race of the season at a 23.026. Very nice way to start off the season for the number 97, pardon me. 95 did not take a qualifying attempt as we round out the qualifying session and jump on over to the race session. Attempts are done and over with, and we will show you in which order they will line up, starting with your pole award winner, Jeff Hollingsworth, at a 23:028, not an 026, an 028. Jeff Schmeier starting on the outside of the front row. Ryan Steele and Wayne Hutchinson will make up row number 2, with Ross Rawlings and Christian Bishop making up row number 3. Bob Beltrami and Eric Woods will sit in row 4 with Dennis Fuson and Rob Gall in row number 5. Charles Woods and Wayne Fleet will make up row number 6, with row number 7 going to Javier Torres and Troy Campbell.
Row number 8 is Keith Kelman and David Weaver. Inside row number 9 is Paul Krumrei and Earl Weaver just to his outside. Row 10, James Doerr and Dustin Burns. Bentley Glaser in 21st and Brian Barnes 22nd. Then we go back to Kyle McCartney and Angelo Espo in row number 12. And bringing up the tail of the field is James Campbell and Fred Williams. The last 6 or so drivers there did not take a qualifying run, so we'll see how they are able to work their way through the field.
And a lot of fast drivers in that final 6 who, as Mike mentioned, did not take a qualifying time and thus will start via their iRating in the final 3 rows of the grid. Weather conditions here for tonight's race. We are inching up on 4 o'clock p.m., 4:30. It's 3:30 now. Inching up on 4:30 p.m. Inching up on 4 o'clock p.m. That's not how time works. glad to see we're already starting off this season well. 2-mile-an-hour winds directly to the north, 78-degree ambient temperature, but it's going to be a hot and slick racetrack with the track temperature up at 110 degrees.
Definitely is. We are in for 160 laps. Definitely look for guys slipping and sliding a little bit off of turn 2 coming down to that back stretch.
Mike, one thing that you will notice all season long is that I will make mistakes, and yes, it is 100% okay to laugh and poke fun.
I'm just gotta have somebody else up here in the booth, so I will not complain at all.
Yeah, it's been a couple of seasons of solo broadcasts for you here in the Western States Racing League, but that changes tonight, and we are just about ready to get this race going. Jeff Hollingsworth on the inside line, Jeff Schmeier on the outside, getting set to kick off season 48 with 160 laps here at Dover. We are green.
Meyer got a heck of a jump on that outside lane. See if he's going to be able to maintain it with Hollingsworth battling back down on the inside, side by side, coming back towards the start-finish line here. And Hollingsworth just basically almost cuts off the nose of Schmeier. Schmeier goes down to the inside. Is going to try and take position back when they come through 1 and 2.
Inside line is certainly where you are going to want to be here, especially earlier on in the run. Outside line might be able to work its way in later on in the race, but the inside line is where you want to be as a big gap has formed. Dennis Fuson right now running in the 8th position is the last car in the front group. Rob Gall is holding up quite the train from 9th position on back, getting a lot of pressure from Charles Woods in the 40.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there to cause that huge gap we see here, but no caution on track, so must have just been somebody shifting gears or missed a shift there, but he is definitely kind of holding up that group. Nobody's really looking to go to his inside, though, as he's starting to pull a little bit of a gap back to Charles Woods, so they're going to stay together and see if they can close the gap on the group in front of them.
It's 1.9 seconds between Dennis Fuson and Rob Gall, 8th and 9th position right now. As again, we mentioned some of the guys starting in the back of the field. Bentley Glaser starting 21st position. He is already up into the 16th position in that Gatorade number 87, or that Roland Gatorade number 87 on the inside line. We also see Brian Barnes. Now, he has not had the early moving success that Bentley Glaser has had. He started 21st. That's where he sits right now in that number 4 Popsicle Chevrolet.
Yeah, he definitely has not been able to move up the way Glaser has. Bentley Glaser, though, in that practice session before we came on air there, he was sitting up pretty close to the fastest car on track with the 23.08, so he definitely has the on-track speed. As long as he can get through the traffic, he's going to be a truck to contend with there.
So just ahead of those guys, Keith Kelman and Paul Crumry running side by side here for 1 and 2. That's Crumry in the 88 on the top, Kelman in the 07 on the bottom. Kelman not quite able to take that run. Now the outside line, if you can make it work, you can certainly keep momentum down these straightaways and hold that inside line down. Try to help yourself going into the next quarter. That's exactly what Crumry was able to pull off.
Yeah, Crumry was able to just maintain that speed and maintain the momentum. Kelman wasn't able to close in as now Crumry starts to pull away a little bit.
That gap that we had mentioned earlier between Dennis Fuson and Rob Gall, well, that gap is starting to go back the other way. It was 1.9 seconds between Gall and Fuson in 8th and 9th. Gall has hauled that, has reeled that gap in by about a half a second. So it's a 1.4 second gap now between 8th and 9th, as the battle for the lead here also starts to run away a little bit. Jeff Schmeier and Jeff Hollingsworth clear by about a second over Ryan Steele.
Yeah, last time we were here, we saw the pole setter dominate basically from start to finish. But that driver, Alec Daffin, is not here tonight, so we'll see if it's the same type of strategy, basically start to finish here, with Schmeier starting on that front row and is able to kind of pull away a little bit from Hollingsworth.
To your point, Bentley Glaser won the pole for that race, led the first lap. Alec Daffin led every other lap. He led 159 laps en route to that win last year. Would prove to be his only win of the season.
Yeah. But the way these guys run, you never know when you're going to get a chance to take a spot via a caution, or late race caution, or really any caution. These guys, most of the time, if you make a mistake on pit road, that's when you're going to lose most of your time, because these guys are able to keep long green flag runs, something they pride themselves on here.
Long green flag runs are certainly going to be on order today, as we see Troy Campbell trying to make a move on Wayne Fleet in the number 72. Campbell getting right up to the back of that citywide scooter and wheelchair Ford F-150. Holding it right down there on that bottom, and boy, it takes a lot of patience to be able to run down there and not try to push that truck too hard. Otherwise, you're going to end up in one of these walls, which comes up really quick on corner exit here.
Yeah, we saw it when they were practicing a little bit, and a couple of the guys during cautions kind of just slide up that track, and if you get on that gas a little too soon, you're just going to spin around or go right into that outside wall.
Javi Torres getting around Wayne Fleet as well. Battle up towards the front for position. Wayne Hutchinson, who was the provisional pole winner for a lot of that qualifying session. Christian Bishop just behind him in the 26. Closest battle on track and furthest battle up on track, as Hutchinson trying to hold down that fourth position, but Bishop not going to let him go easy.
No, Bishop's improved one position from where he started, running now just inside that top 5. Looking to get a little bit more as you're on board here with Hutchinson.
Let this car roll quite a bit, and that's something you're going to have to do here at Dover as we look towards the back now of the number 17. Back at Christian Bishop. Back through the field once again. Bentley Glaser up to 13th position now. Glaser, the biggest mover of the race thus far, up 8 spots from where he had started, back at the 21st position. And ooh, a big wiggle there out of the 72 of Troy Campbell. That opens up the door for Javier Torres on the bottom, and that also opens up the door for Bentley Glaser to try to sneak through the middle. Thinks better of it.
Yeah, Bentley Glaser thought better of that one. Didn't want to be right in the middle. As now Glaser's down to the inside, going to make that pass on Torres and Campbell. Woods is coming through as well.
It's Eric Woods in the 85 on the bottom there. Kyle McCartney also, we haven't really spoken much about him. He ended up missing the start of this race and is currently running a lap down in that number 18. Now the good news is it's early in the race, and he is the only driver currently that is one lap down in that Snap-on Tools Toyota Tundra. So if Kyle McCartney, who historically has been very fast around Dover here, can get a lap, can get a quick caution here, can get back up on the lead lap and start fighting for this race win.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty big wiggles out of a couple of these trucks, so if one of them gets a little bit too loose, that is just what Kyle McCartney's looking for in that number 18 Snap-on Toyota there.
Troy Campbell had another issue. You see on the right side of that number 72. He's caught the wall somewhere. Might have been there. Another big wiggle.
That turn 2 exit, man.
Yeah, it's it's a characteristic about this racetrack that I don't think, I mean, we talk about it a lot, but it's not something that we really harp on. You really fall into these corners, and especially in turn 2, you jump out of it. So when you need the most grip on the truck, sliding up the racetrack.
Right there.
Boom, yep.
In the wall again.
It gets light on you and it floats a little bit too far out. You really have to make sure you know where your truck is. And Troy Campbell, unfortunately, is shortening his up by a couple of inches.
Yeah, just narrow it a little bit. It'll be all right.
As Earl Weaver looks to put a move on Wayne Fleet, and does. James Durr in the 55 also down there. Campbell once again in the wall as guys try to siphon past him. Keith Kellman and Brian Barnes running side by side now as Barnes up to the 17th spot. He had a very slow start to his move forward, but now 25 laps into the race, that number 4 is starting to work his way up.
Yeah, as soon as Brian gets the track figured out, he usually saves tires a little bit at the beginning, and you can see him just make those runs towards the end.
Right on board with David Weaver.
Right behind Troy Campbell here. Maybe we'll see a little maybe of what's causing Troy Campbell to slide up here on corner exit.
And there you saw that big drop down into the corner, and then watch as you jump up and out onto the straightaway. And once again, falling down into turn 3 before you jump out onto the front straightaway up out of turn 4.
Yeah, you don't really think about basically a track where you come uphill and then basically flat, because these corners, I mean, in the corner it's what, 24, 25 degrees, and then you come to the straightaway that's barely 9. But it is like you're coming over a hill and then it just flattens out, as we're currently watching the battle here for 15th.
It's Wayne Fleet in the 6, James Durr in the 55, and Brian Barnes in the 4 on track right now. Not missing anything up at the front. Schmeier and Hollingsworth are close, but no real battle. There have been no position changes in the top 8 since the beginning of this race, and a big wide line there from Brian Barnes trying to take as much momentum down the straightaway as he possibly can. Durr in the 55 gets around Wayne Fleet, and so does Brian Barnes, with one heck of a run down the straight.
Yeah, Brian Barnes was able to maintain that speed. He was able to just carry it through as he almost got up into the wall coming out of 2 there, but was able to slow it down just enough to tuck in behind the 55 there.
A couple of battles starting to brew here up towards the front of the field. There is the 91 of Ross Rawlings. Dennis Fuson battling there behind him. 7th and 8th on screen right now. There's Rob Gall catching up. Still about a second and a half behind. Bentley Glaser has just passed Charles Woods. So Glaser up into 10th here on this run. And the battle for the race lead still close, but no swapping of positions back and forth, with Ryan Steele kind of just waiting and watching.
Yeah, these guys did this a few times last year too. They just sit there and kind of drive away from everybody and hope they just decide it between the two of them. That's kind of a nice thing about watching these guys race and have the races. Christian Bishop drops down to the inside of Hutchinson, going to make that pass down on the inside. If he can just keep a little bit more speed than Hutchinson there on that outside. Still side by side, not quite enough to pass him there.
It is quite difficult again to make a move on the outside line, but it is a lot easier to defend on that outside line because
Bishop into the wall.
Yep, you can pinch the attacking driver down And Bishop, as you'd mentioned, got a big push off of turn 4, and right into the outside fence he goes.
So that took some momentum away, and Bob Beltrami was able to take advantage and is up into 5th now.
Beltrami +2 from where he started 7th, up to 5th now in that number 14. And that little bit of contact there for Christian Bishop slowed up Bob Beltrami a little bit, and also brought in Ross Rawlings and Dennis Fuson into this fight.
And not too far behind them, Rob Gall and Glaser making their way towards the front as well.
Battle for the race lead now as Jeff Hollingsworth makes the pass on Jeff Schmeier. Schmeier didn't appear to put up too much of a fight there. As you can start to see the back of the field. I believe that's Angelo Espo in the number 718. Inching closer and closer. Kyle McCartney, there you see him. He's gotten up. He would be running, if on track, if he were on the lead lap, he would be running in 11th place right now behind Bentley Glaser, as Angelo Espo has gone around on the inside line, is able to get it, able to tow it to pit road fast enough. No caution. We stay green here at Dover.
And that is not what Kyle McCartney wanted to see.
Oh,
he wanted that yellow flag.
Boy, he might get one here as Christian Bishop and Ross Rawlings battling side by side. Bishop, even with a damaged car, is not going to let that position go easily. Trying to pinch that 91 down a little bit. Rawlings trying to move up the racetrack as much as he can.
And Bishop floats a little high there.
And Rawlings just does clear Christian Bishop. Rawlings up to 6th, and now it's time for Dennis Fuson to put the attack on.
As Troy Campbell made a pit stop there, so it looks like James Dorer is as well.
Bob Beltrami getting around Wayne Hutchinson as well there through 1 and 2. So Beltrami working his way up. We'll take a look here. This is what happened with Angelo Espo through 3 and 4. He's going to, oh, he's trying to get onto pit road. And, oh, don't hit the wall. Ooh.
Right into the barrels.
Right in front of the leaders as well. That could have been really bad.
A good thing he stayed down. That would have been terrible for the 2 leaders up there.
As Fuson has gotten around Christian Bishop. As Rob Gall is starting to close the gap down. He's got Bentley Glaser chasing him. As, ooh, that's somebody else.
Troy Campbell through the infield there.
Yep, there he is, sliding through. Now he's far enough off the racing surface that the caution shouldn't come out. Still trying to find the reverse gear. Does for a moment, and then
Toes.
decides to tow it away. You had just made the note that he had just come out of pit road not that long ago. And I think he may have just come back down again to possibly serve a penalty, as that was the 13 of James Campbell, who got way wild off of turn 4.
It's like Kyle McCartney's still going to be the first truck a lap down at the moment.
2 trucks currently running that are not on the lead lap, and that would be Kyle McCartney and James Durer. The difference between the two is that McCartney has not pit, Durer has. As McCartney makes another pass on track, this time on Rob Gall. As we see a battle between Wayne Fleet and David Weaver for position, and this is just in front of the race leader, Jeff Hollingsworth, who you just saw get around James Campbell. Outside goes Hollingsworth. You see Schmeier down low. Car in between the two now. Steele trying to get around Campbell. I think that was Wayne Fleet trying to get out of the way there.
Trying to figure out where to go.
Just trying to get out of the way. Ended up blocking off the 30.
13 clear down to the wall almost there. Bob Beltrami barely squeaks by Wayne Fleet.
A little bit of contact possibly there between the 6 and the 14. Everyone's still rolling though.
I think there's not mirrors.
Bentley Glaser now trying to get around Christian Bishop for 8th.
Kyle McCartney.
Just does squeak through. Paul Crumry will get up and out of the way, I believe. Dustin Burns will be the next one up on the list, and there he is in the Vegas Golden Knights number 04, sitting between Wayne Fleet and Wayne Hutchison. Side-by-side battle still going on here. Hollingsworth has pulled out a 1.4 second lead while these guys are trying to get around traffic. Schmeier and Steele are clear. Okay.
Yeah, Wayne Fleet there putting that little, I wouldn't call it a block, but trying to figure out which way to go, just slowed down Schmeier and Steele. So that's where most of that gap came from, back to the front of Hollingsworth there.
Fighting lap traffic is always fun, especially around a racetrack like this. Christian Bishop now coming into pit road. Paul Crumry doing the same. Schmeier in close battle with Ryan Steele. Dennis Fuson in close battle with Bentley Glaser, or with Ross Rawlings, pardon me. We are 52 laps in to this 160 lap season 48 opener here for the Western States Racing League. As Ryan Steele passes Jeff Schmeier for second, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back just shy of the pit cycle here from Dover. Caution number 1 of season 48 for the Western States Racing League comes just right at the beginning of the pit cycle. As we saw Bentley Glaser come down pit road, we saw Bob Beltrami making his way down pit road as the caution came out for the 13 of James Campbell. And once we get done with the pit stops here from these guys, we will take a look and see what happened with the 13. Narrow, slow pit lane here.
Yeah. Some of these guys are glad the caution came out, made it a lot easier for them to get onto pit road, as we saw Angelo Espo have a little bit of difficulty earlier in the race.
So they will come out of pit road as they came on. Hollingsworth, Steele, and Schmeier, as we'll take a look at what happened there with James Campbell. Campbell trying to get out of the way of faster cars, and Durr, boy, that's just Kelman involved as well. And once again, that's just a slower car trying to get out of the way of everybody else and end up getting in the way.
Yeah, I don't think he really had too much to, or anywhere really to go there either.
Board of the 55, and there certainly was netcode involved there, without a doubt. So we'll see this one on board from Campbell. He gets a little loose coming out of turn 2, and then you can see in the mirror up there, it looked like the 55 and the 13 were going to end up colliding at some point there, but don't think it was then.
No, that was a little bit of netcode, but definitely probably would have just brushed sides, not quite such a violent push up into the racing surface there.
Bob Beltrami should be getting a wave around. Christian Bishop should be getting a wave around, as well as Bentley Glaser. Those three did come into pit prior to the caution flag. And again, Beltrami was on pit road when the caution came out, driving to the pit box. Looks like the 88 will get a lap back. The 46 will get a lap back as well. And I believe this will... No, this will keep Kyle McCartney a lap down. McCartney came in on lap 46 as well. So the wave around's going through, and we've got just over 100 laps to go. And our first restart of the season with Jeff Hollingsworth out in front, Ryan Steele second, Jeff Schmeier third, Dennis Fuson fourth, Rawlings and Gall, your third row.
We'll see if Ryan Steele's able to make that outside line work the way we saw Schmeier earlier on the start of the race. Or see if maybe Hollingsworth learned something from that start as he's starting down on the inside again.
That, and also wonder if Rob Gall had figured out his issue from his initial restart, one that grew about a 2-second gap between himself and the 11. As we get set to go back to green flag racing, Mike, take us away.
Hollingsworth in the Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. Got a heck of a jump on that outside lane, jumps up to the high side right in front of Ryan Steele, and he is off and away. Schmeier going to try and go to the inside of Steele, but not quite enough to get there. Ryan Steele jumps down to the inside of Hollingsworth. Coming through 3 and 4 here. See if he's going to take that position away, and not quite enough speed. Hollingsworth was able to maintain it through the start-finish line there.
First time in about a half hour worth of racing that we have seen these guys on fresh shoes. So it might take a minute before these guys really start to get back in the swing of things, as once again another big gap has formed, as that is Charles Woods running in the 9th position. Wayne Hutchinson fell back by about a second and a half. He's pulled some of that back, as Kyle McCartney, once again, McCartney, I believe, actually No, he is not racing for position. He is the first car not on the lead lap. Bentley Glaser also stuck a lap down now because of that caution.
Yeah, it looks like Glaser was. Oh, into the wall goes Eric Woods there.
And Eric Woods and Brian Barnes both getting into the wall there coming out of 4. Barnes got out of it a heck of a lot quicker than Eric Woods did. He's racing once again, as you do here at Dover. Starting to single file out. Gall catching the wall as well.
Yeah, that's one thing that's in almost every race I've called here. Once they get those fresh shoes, they almost forget where that wall is for a couple laps, and then once they get it settled back down, it'll they'll start staying off the wall so much, but nothing much you can do when it starts to do it, you know.
It's you either slam on the brakes and get run over 9 times out of 10, or you shorten the car up a little bit. As Wayne Hutchinson now battling side by side with Eric Woods. This is for 9th. Woods in the 85, still running in the top 10. Now he has a little ways to go before he has a position to worry about. Bob Beltrami in that number 14, he is the next car on the lead lap, running in 11th. So that pit cycle had kept Kyle McCartney a lap down, has pinned Bentley Glaser and Christian Bishop a lap down as well. So 3 very fast cars. Sorry about that.
Man, Kyle McCartney and Bentley Glaser, I thought with that caution we're going to just be able to get there. Well, at least Glaser keep his lap, but Kyle McCartney get his lap back, and that just did not come to fruition. And now both of the, I'd say, faster cars on track are, as of right now, not in the fight for the race really at all, sitting back there in 14th and 15th position.
16th counting Bishop in there as well.
Yeah.
So 3 very fast cars caught a lap behind the leader. If you saw a flash of yellow going by the last time we went through turns 1 and 2, that was Keith Kellman coming out of pit road. As McCartney looking for track position on Rob Gall right now. A pass that would have put him in the 6th position. As Ryan Steele, top 3 has remained the same. Hollingsworth, Steele, and Schmeier. Dennis Fuson, Ross Rawlings now occupying the other 2 positions in the top 5. And at this rate, it's looking like both Glaser and McCartney very well could get their laps back the old-fashioned way, actually getting up to and passing Jeff Hollingsworth.
Yeah, like we've said, they're 2 of the fastest trucks we see on track. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were able to do that, but the fact that they had to do it is kind of mind-boggling for the way that they run.
Again, Glaser and Bishop both got caught in the middle of the pit cycle when a caution came out. That's why those 2 are a lap down. Kyle McCartney missed grid and missed the first lap of the race, which is why he is a lap down and in the position that he is in. So both of their cars are clean, as Ross Rawlings putting a lot of pressure now on Dennis Fuson, and Fuson in that Tito's Vodka number 11 is going to bend and lose the position, not just to Ross Rawlings, but he'll also lose the track position to Kyle McCartney.
Yeah, Kyle McCartney, whether or not he wins this race, is probably going to pass the most cars on track the way he's riding right now.
He's gotten very good at it as we ride on board with the number 18. Bentley Glaser's passed quite a few cars as well here tonight. Difference between Glaser and McCartney is that most of Glaser's were for position. McCartney hasn't passed anyone for position, really.
Nope, the only ones that pass for position are the ones that are currently out or had incidents there. Makes that pass on Ross Rawlings there.
to a would-be fourth. As Charles Woods battling with Wayne Hutchinson now going into turn one. Woods and Hutchinson battling for the 8th position. Woods lets him go through, and now there's about a 2-second gap back to Eric Woods, who had a 2-second gap to Bob Beltrami. Well, that's gone now, as Beltrami looks to climb back into the top 10. Another guy who got caught in the middle of the pit cycle.
Yeah, Bob just was able to get out of the pits before the leaders did, and was able to get that wave around that everybody else was hoping for.
Ryan Barnes coming down pit road. A lot of damage on the right side of that number 4, so he might have caught the wall a couple more times.
Yeah, he was running up in 5th or 6th before he came to pit road, it looked like.
James Durr on track as well. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, after he started at the back of the pack there as well.
James Durr on pit road as well, repairing damage from the one and only caution tonight.
And he's been on pit road for quite a while, sitting there still trying to get as much damage repaired as he could, maybe get a few more laps on track, but he's still about 25 laps down.
It's been about 8.5 minutes that he's spent on pit road right now trying to repair that damage. Troy Campbell and Angelo Espo are the only 2 retirements thus far in this race, as there's Beltrami getting back into the top 10. Woods putting up whatever fight he can. Unfortunately, it's not much, as Javier Torres now citing the 11th position as current residency.
Trying to close that gap on Eric Woods there. Had to like when he saw Beltrami and Woods fighting there for a little bit, but after Beltrami got past, we'll see if he's able to close the gap on Eric Woods. That's about 0.7 of a second right now.
Just past halfway here at Dover. Jeff Hollingsworth still out in front. Ryan Steele 3/4 of a second behind. Jeff Schmeier running in third, a second behind Steele. He's got 1.5 seconds to Ross Rawlings. Still not quite into the pit cycle, to lap cars, pardon me. David Weaver would be the first of the new drivers to be put a lap down. As we see Keith Kelman battling for position, that is, that's not for position. Kelman getting a lap back on Wayne Fleet. As the field is getting really spread out now. There were a lot of guys that we saw that were battling quite close together during the first stint. As the caution comes out, it appears to be the 13 again of James Campbell.
Yeah, it looks like coming off of 4, just got loosened into that wall again. Take a look. Get back there.
Campbell back on the racetrack after blowing his engine thanks to a fast repair, and hard hits that. Oh, wow, Crumry, a hard hit. They call it a self-cleaning track, and unfortunately the track did not clean itself there.
No, definitely did not.
So watch, there's the 2 cars up ahead. We're on board with Paul Crumry right now. Sees him coming back down, and
That's got to be nerve-wracking when you see the car head towards the inside, then come back up the track to the outside with nowhere to go.
Looking back at James Campbell now. Hard hit number 1 and hard hit number 2. And that is the second engine on the night that Campbell has had go sour on it. Again, the series does run with one fast repair. And good news for Kyle McCartney, he gets the free pass. As Jeff Hollingsworth wins the race off of pit road, we will take a quick break just past halfway under our second caution of the night. Here at Dover, Jeff Hollingsworth showing the way. About to restart here, taking lap 88 of 160 here from Dover. Green flag back in the air. Kyle McCartney with the lucky dog, Bentley Glaser, and Christian Bishop getting the free pass. All three back on the lead lap.
Now all their passes are going to be for position, so these guys are definitely not going to just give their spots away.
And as you had mentioned during the break, and rightfully so, big hit into the wall there for David Weaver. And the 16 gets into the side of the 26 of Bishop. Sends the 4 down to the apron. Somehow everyone kept it straight and we stayed green. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. No, he's good.
He's still good, still good. Wow, Weaver.
Doesn't appear to be too much damage on the side of the 6. The 4 got away scot-free. However, that's going to cost him about 3 seconds on track.
Yeah, that is definitely not what Christian Bishop wanted to see after getting the wave around and back on the lead lap.
Now, as you had pointed out, getting back to our point before, that while Bishop and Glaser may be on the lead lap, they are still on 30-lap-old tires. as compared to everyone else around them who came in to take a pit stop. Meanwhile, Kyle McCartney, who got the free pass, he is on fresh tires, so he's looking very good right now as compared to the 87 and the 26.
Yeah, he was able to basically maintain where he was on the racetrack, worked his way almost back up to the leaders. Got the free pass there, and was able to hit pit lane, get those fresh tires, and now he is on a mission to get back to where he was running. And he's already up 13 positions from where he started.
These are
inside the top 10, I mean.
These are his first laps on the lead lap, by the way. Again, noted a couple of times tonight that he had started this race on pit road after missing the grid. Started the race a lap late. The Denver, Colorado native Kyle McCartney now for the first time into the top 10, for the first time on the lead lap. As once again, this top group here starting to get strung out a little bit. Top 11 cars all running for position.
Yeah, these guys have all got 2 to 3 car lengths between each of them, it looks like. Hollinsworth, Schmeier, and Steele, top 3, have been running the top 3 basically all race.
Hasn't been much of a pit cycle to string these guys out. So it has been 97, 30, and 12 up in the top 3 all night in whichever order they may be in. It has been these 3.
Yeah. Ross Rollins is inside the top 5, and just
as well.
Yeah, they just don't seem to quite have enough speed to get to those top 3. The only truck we saw kind of make any ground was Kyle McCartney, so we'll have to see what happens if he can make his way back through the field and get back up towards these top 3.
Bentley Glaser and Christian Bishop are both hoping for a quick caution because Jeff Hollingsworth last time around did a 23.68. Bentley Glaser was a full second slower. He's losing a second a lap around a racetrack that only takes 23 seconds to get around. So he could be in lap trouble if we get a long green flag run here, not to mention him losing 2 spots when he, 2 positions when he, or 2 laps, my goodness, when he comes on to pit.
Yeah, because we got 53, 54 laps before they started hitting pit lane last time. Bentley Glaser last down on lap 52, so he's got to be looking at pit lane pretty soon as well.
And he's already 30 laps shy. He's only got to go about another 20 laps or so. As 88 gaining some track position on Eric Woods. Woods on fresh tires, not running too much quicker, only about a 10th quicker than Bentley Glaser right now, but that is because that 85 does have some pretty significant damage. You see the nose of this car all curled up.
Like Glaser gives the position away to Paul Krumrei. On track anyway.
Yeah, track position. David Weaver, who we just saw a part of that big kerfuffle on the restart, trying to pass Christian Bishop, now trying to do the same. However, with a little bit cleaner result this time.
I don't know if I was him, I would try and pass too close. Let's put it that way.
No, I would be tiptoeing as well. But you can't tiptoe too much because Jeff Hollingsworth is now in picture. He's pulled out a second lead over Jeff Schmeier, who has now fallen very firmly into the clutches of Ryan Steele. Ross Rawlings is there as well. Wayne Fleet has gone down another lap, getting passed by Dennis Fuson and Wayne Hutchinson.
Yeah, Wayne Fleet just trying to stay out of the way a little bit of those leaders.
Keith Kellman now getting lapped by second, third, and fourth. Jeff Hollingsworth has well and truly checked out here at the front of this field. 2nd and a quarter is the lead for that number 97, and this is what we were talking about as far as needing a quick caution, because the 26 of Bishop now, as well as the 16 of Weaver. Now Weaver is a lap down. Bishop is a lap down, but on 35 lap older tires.
Well, it's not quite a lap down yet, but he will be in a moment.
It's prolonging the inevitable at this point. As Bishop getting very close to contact with Jeff Hollingsworth, and that will put the 26 a lap down.
Weaver's going to take advantage there.
That would be for position between these two. So David
Looks
Weaver.
like Bishop's going to pit lane.
Kind of the call. I've already been lapped down. I've already been put a lap down, so may as well pit now. Wonder if Bishop takes that fast repair if he hasn't already. One fast repair on offer for all of these guys. That's why we saw James Campbell back out on track after blowing an engine. Paul Crumry back out on track after blowing an engine as well. As the battle for second here, very, very close between Schmeier, Steele, and Rollins.
Yeah, these three guys are battling out amongst themselves as the leader had checked out.
Second
right
and
now,
a half
no.
and one car between first and these three.
Yeah, and then you got Huson and Hutchinson back there as well. So as Bishop makes his way out of pit lane.
Wayne Hutchinson, Dennis Fuson battling now for position as Fuson collects that 5th position away from Hutchinson. Bob Beltrami trying to keep Kyle McCartney behind him. Beltrami's had a very quiet day thus far in that number 14. It's been very quietly in the top 10 here tonight. Had that one little bit where he was caught on pit road during the caution, when the caution came out for the first time tonight. Went a lap down, got the free pass, got the wave around, got back on the lead lap, and haven't seen much out of that 14 after that.
Nope, just been quietly sitting there inside the top 10, working his way now, sitting P7, with Kyle McCartney slowly getting to his back bumper there.
Said it many times throughout the years here on Sim Racing Media that just because we're not talking about you doesn't mean you're having a bad day, and that's certainly the case for Bob Beltrami. Started 7th, currently running 7th. Brian Barnes now coming down pit road in the number 4. Barnes was another one of those guys that took a wave around on that last caution without coming into pit. 63-year-old from Medford, Oregon will surrender at the 17th position to come into pit.
And now you got to be looking for Bentley Glaser. Looks like he's the only one left that has not hit pit lane at the moment. Last pit on lap 52, so he's got to be getting close. Man.
He's currently running in 12th. Sorry about that.
Good.
Currently running in 12th right now is Glaser, and the good news for Glaser is that he's not losing a second lap anymore because the tire wear has fallen down to where he is. We had said that Hollingsworth ran a lap that was a second quicker than him, a 23.6 to a 24.6. And now Hollingsworth last time around did a 24.75 compared to Glaser's 24.83. So the times have leveled out.
Yeah, he's just holding on, hoping for a caution or something. Because if he has to take a pit stop here, with how many laps he's had on these tires, some of these guys might be able to make it pretty close to the end before they have to pit.
Big kerfuffle going on here. Right around the 5th position, Hutchinson comes out the best of it. Fuson comes out the worst. Goes from 5th to 8th. Does the number 11.
These guys dealing with the lap truck there of Weaver, it looks like.
Is David Weaver in the number 16, riding along the wall, trying to stay out of everybody's way. And McCartney will be the lucky one not to clear him coming out of the corner.
Bob Beltrami looking to get the pass here on Hutchinson. Looking to be back inside that top 5. He was up there earlier before he got caught that lap down.
Beltrami, you can see the run that he's getting coming out of the corners, and he has been a lot better later on in the run. My goodness, later on in the runs. Those are the words I was looking for.
Yeah, you've seen the way he kind of, I don't know if Bob's just able to save a little bit more tires or just use them a little bit smarter, because when it gets into these 40, 50 laps on those tires, he just seems to kind of make his way towards the front.
Is Beltrami still working on that number 17? Kyle McCartney now starting to work his way back towards the back end of the 14. Dennis Fuson has fallen off quite significantly. As a matter of fact, he's already fallen about 2 seconds behind that trio that we were just watching.
Yeah, it looks like he might have wore out his tires maybe a little bit, because he is falling off pretty quickly.
I have to think so.
I mean, 25 flat last time by.
Beltrami looking to the inside of Hutchinson. Hutchinson up the racetrack, giving plenty of room. Beltrami may not quite clear him just yet, but he'll certainly have him going into turn 3. Now McCartney trying to follow through.
Yeah, McCartney down to the inside. See if he's going to be able to follow Beltrami there as well, as Hutchinson gets into the wall, bounces off just a little bit, but is able to stay off of McCartney. So that could have been a bad omen there, but they were both able to stay off of each other, and we're still green here. Beltrami back up inside the top 5.
Earl Weaver on and off pit road. Keith Kellman on and off pit road. Eric Woods just getting to his pit box now. What would be the final time for those 3 drivers? Jeff Hollingsworth currently has a 1.1 second lead as we work down towards 35 laps to go, and still a pit stop left here at Dover. Hollingsworth has dominated the opening round of season 48. Back live here at the Dover Motor Speedway, the final round of green flag pit stops have begun. A lot of guys coming down pit road during that break. Jeff Schmeier, Dennis Fuson, Charles Woods down pit road now. Rob Gall, Bentley Glaser, finally after about 80 laps, comes down pit road for the first time in a long time. So the final pit cycle well and truly underway here at Dover.
Now it looks like we have 7 trucks that have not hit pit lane yet. Jeff Hollingsworth, Ryan Steele, and Bob Beltrami up inside the top 3. Kyle McCartney up 19 positions, sitting in P4 with Ross Rollins back to P5 at the moment.
We saw that battle during the break there between McCartney, McCartney, Hutchinson, Beltrami, as there is Dustin Burns, in the 04 on fresh tires. Just behind the 2 guys running for the 3rd position right now. Beltrami has it, McCartney wants it. And Hollingsworth starting to really slow up here. He had a lead of about 1.5 seconds. That has come down to 0.5 second between himself and Ryan Steele.
Yeah, if you look at the lap times from Hollingsworth back to Jeff Schmeier, Jeff Schmeier's over 1 second faster after he made his pit stop. So you got to be wondering how long Hollingsworth, Steele, and Beltrami are going to sit this one out on track before they make their pit stops.
That's the lap times between Hollingsworth and Steele. There between those two. And then, as you had just mentioned, here are the lap time differences between Hollingsworth and Schmeier, currently running in the 8th position. That is quite the difference over the last 4 laps. 1.8, 1.3, 1.4, 1.3. It has been, it's a great visual representation of what fresh tires will do around this racetrack.
Yeah, you got to be aware of that. I mean, but we also saw Bentley Glaser go, 80 laps? So, I mean, maybe Hollingsworth is like, maybe I'll just see if I can hang on here. Because he last pitted on lap 84, so maybe he knows something we don't.
There were a couple of cautions in between those pit stops as well there to help him save that fuel. As Ross Rawlings has now gotten around Wayne Hutchinson. Hutchinson trying to fight back on that inside line. There is Bentley Glaser stuck behind these two, making it 3 wide coming down the back straightaway. Hutchinson back up to 5th. Glaser gets them both.
Yeah, Glaser still looks like he's a couple laps down at the moment, so trying to get all the track position he can he's not close to being the first truck a lap down, so.
He's 2 laps down right now, and he's not even the first truck 2 laps down. At the moment, that honor would go to Rob Gall in the 31 here, who's trying to work to become the last truck 1 lap down now. Jeff Schmeier and Dennis Fuson are the only 2 that are 1 lap down, as Beltrami's still doing a great job of holding off Kyle McCartney there in the 18 for the final step on the podium.
Yeah, you don't hear that very often about somebody holding Kyle McCartney back. But Kyle McCartney has had a lot of work to do tonight, and he is got to be proud of where he's running inside that top 5.
Absolutely. The decline of Jeff Hollingsworth's lead has stabled out, as now McCartney will get to the inside of Bentley Glaser, and now Kyle McCartney will get up into the top 3. Bentley Glaser there as well, stuck behind Charles Woods in the 40 on the bottom line right now, trying to do the same thing he did earlier on. That is a position, though, between Woods and Glaser, so Woods isn't going to give it up easily here.
No, kind of. When I first looked, I saw how Woods was blocking Glaser. I'm like, why are you doing that? But it is for position, so
around Kyle McCartney right now. It is not for position between the two. It's the 72-year-old from Glendale, Arizona, holding up the 4-time consecutive champion here in this series right now, keeping him just outside, just keeping him one position just outside the top 10. As Woods getting around Steele here, 15 laps to go. These guys are trying to, one, make it the rest of the way here, I would have to assume, and then two, get their lap back here.
Yeah, Woods and Glaser last pitted on lap 128 and 130. Hollinsworth last pitted on lap 84, so they're definitely running two different strategies here. We'll see if Hollinsworth or Steele decide that they need to hit pit lane. But from the looks of it, with 14 laps to go, they might just be trying to save their fuel and make it to the end.
Jeff Hollingsworth giving his teammate with OGR, Bentley Glaser, plenty of room to get by and get one of his 2 laps back. Only 3 official retirements, 1 driver who's been on pit road for about 3/4 of an hour, and 1 did not start. James and Troy Campbell both DNFing. Angelo Espo DNFing at lap 36. Fred Williams did not start the race, and James Durr has been on pit road for 41 minutes trying to repair crash damage from an incident earlier on. As Hollingsworth looks to put Earl Weaver another lap down, and does.
Yeah, Hollinsworth is just out there trying to hold his lead for these last 10 laps here.
Seeing on the bottom of your screen right now, the last time these guys all came down pit road, we've only got 10 laps to go here. McCartney coming in on lap 85 because that was the lap that he got the lucky dog, as there's Ross Rawlings coming down pit road. So that makes you wonder, what is the fate of the drivers currently running in the top 6?
Yeah, with 6 trucks on the lead lap, and a couple of these guys, especially Torres there, he's been running towards the back, but now he's finds himself inside the top 6, looking for one of his better finishes he'll be able to have if he can save enough fuel to make it to the end with 9 laps to go.
Jeff Hollingsworth, Ryan Steele, Kyle McCartney, Bob Beltrami, Wayne Hutchinson, Javier Torres. Your current top 6, and the only 6 at the moment that have a shot at winning this race, as Jeff Schmeier trying to pass Kyle McCartney. As Schmeier about to get this lap back completely on track. Came into pit road in 3rd, and he just now passed the 3rd place driver of Kyle McCartney.
Yeah, he has a little bit of work to do to catch up to Ryan Steele and Jeff Hollinsworth. So we'll see if he's able to get his lap back on track. But with only 7 laps to go, you kind of got to be hoping that that the leaders here have to hit pit lane.
For Schmeier, he still has a tire advantage over the leaders. It hasn't equalized out just yet. He's still running about 0.3 of a second quicker than everybody else around him. As he looks to the inside of Ryan Steele, who he's been battling for position most of the night. Unfortunately, this pass will not be for the 2nd spot. It'll be to get him 1 step closer to getting back on the lead lap with only 5 laps to go.
Yeah, if you're Jeff Schmeier, you got to be wondering, what did I do wrong? Because he's been inside the top 3, but he elected to come to pit lane, I'm assuming expecting both Hollingsworth and Steele to go with him or come down pretty soon after, but that has not been the case, and with 4 laps to go, there's no way they're going to now.
Certainly not. Charles Woods still holding off Bentley Glaser right now. This is a battle for 10th now. Charles Woods has it. Bentley Glaser wants it. These two are still a lap down, however.
They are battling for the top 10 finish, though.
Yes, they are. And no one in sight either. Rob Gall, 6.4 seconds ahead of these two. As Ryan Steele now getting into a very close confrontation with Kyle McCartney out on track right now as Ross Rawlings comes through on fresh tires.
See if Kyle McCartney's going to try and take advantage there, but not quite enough speed to follow through with putting Ryan Steele in that high line. But 2 laps to go. Jeff Hollingsworth still has a 2.5 lead.
Yep, coming to the white flag. Hollingsworth starting on pole here tonight. Looked outmatched for about the first 30 or 40 laps of this race, but after that, boy, did he ever put a stamp of authority on this race. Hollingsworth coming through turns 3 and 4. It is the perfect way to begin the start of a season. Season 48 opener winner here at Dover, Jeff Hollingsworth, your winner tonight.
Started on pole, took the checkered flag. Not much more you could do on a season opening race.
No, absolutely not. Looking back, Charles Woods will keep Bentley Glaser at bay. So the first race for Bentley Glaser in his drive for 5 in a row finishes outside the top 10 without a lap led.
That is probably one of the last times you're gonna be able to say that one.
Jeff Hollingsworth getting set to burn it down, and does here at Dover, and very well deserved as we wait for Hollingsworth, Steele, and McCartney to make their way into the chat here. Start interviewing them, and it looks like we've got our 3rd place finisher first. So Mike, you are with our 3rd place finisher, Kyle McCartney.
Hey, Frank.
Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
How's it going, man?
Oh, man, I'm whooped after that one. Trying to start and give everybody an extra lap at the start of the race there. So, yeah, it was a lot of passing the cars today.
Yeah, before you got your lap back, I was kind of joking with Frank there that you were probably going to pass the most cars and not even come close to the leaders, but you're able to get that lap back and work your way back through the field. Seemed like you had a harder time when you were on the lead lap than before, but were you just a little late to the race here, or?
Yeah, so my wife, I had to pick her up from work, and she was late being picked up, so got to give the shout out to her today. No, but that last run, I tried to take it easy on the tires. I mean, that was a full fuel tank run there. I think it was like 70 some laps, and wanted to make sure I had tires at the end, but I got stuck behind Bob Beltrami for about 40 laps. I mean, it was fun racing with him, but I think that kind of killed my chance of catching Hollingsworth there.
Yeah, it looked like Bob kind of gave you a run for your money. You were able to finally take advantage and finish top 3 to start the season. What are your thoughts on the season going forward with the new Xfinity option as well?
You know, honestly, I hadn't seen the schedule until earlier tonight, and I'm super excited about it. I love the Xfinity cars. They're a lot of fun to run. They obviously have more power, a little less downforce, so you can kind of wheel them a little bit more, and switching it up every couple of weeks is going to be a good time for sure. So
Awesome. Anybody want to thank on that truck for your run tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank my wife. I know she held me up tonight, but I got to give her a shout out. She's been working a lot of hours here over the holidays as a nurse, and got to give a shout out to her and all of her coworkers for keeping America safe. So, and I want to thank you guys. I'm glad you guys are back this year. So it'll be a fun time getting to chat with you every week.
Awesome, Kyle.
All right, so that was your third place finisher tonight, Kyle McCartney. Now we will bring in our second place finisher, Ryan Steele. Ryan, you looked as though you had the second or third best car tonight, and that's exactly where you come home with the finish tonight. What was it like trying to catch up with Hollingsworth and battling with Jeff Schmeier most of the night?
That was a little bit surprising for me. I thought I was doing a good job of saving the tires, and I was like, when I get ready to go, I'll be able to catch them just fine, no problem. And then I start going with 3 laps to go, and I'm like, wait, I'm not getting any closer. Something's wrong. I guess I just drove it too hard on that last run, and I had way more tire wear than he did, as we were talking just after. So, yeah, I guess I blew it. But, it was overall a pretty fun race.
And a good start to the season, especially at a difficult racetrack like this. How much momentum does that bring to have a good start to the season overall into the next upcoming races?
Oh, it's definitely nice to not be digging out of a hole, that's for sure. The point standings, of course, they shuffle a lot early on, but it's definitely nice to be on like, well, I don't already have to make up 10 points on Bentley, so it'll be good to start here, yeah.
All right, we go into Kansas next week in this truck. What are your thoughts on that multi-groove racetrack in Kansas?
I'm hoping I can get a win out of that. That's definitely one of those tracks that's one of my best. This is one of my best, too, so I'm actually disappointed I didn't get a win here. But we're hoping that we can keep going and get another podium out of it at least.
All right, Ryan, anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Well, I've always got to thank my Dog Bear teammates because they always help with the prep for the race. Had to get a little bit of a heads up for how tight the car was going to be because I wouldn't have expected it to be this tight as it wound up being. And it helped because I probably would have been a little bit more aggressive for most of the race if I hadn't got the heads up. And also knowing how many laps I could expect to run before the tire goes flat because you could run the tire out before you run out of fuel. And I got to thank you guys for covering the series. It always makes it more fun when I get my friends to see what's going on.
All right, Ryan, congratulations on a second place finish, bud.
Thank you.
And now, Mike, you are with the guy who dominated the night, Jeff Hollingsworth.
Hey, Jeff, Mike up in the booth. You got me?
Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Good, man. Hey, heck of a run. You started on the pole. You kind of gave up the lead for a little bit, but in the end, you were able to basically dominate this race. Is this kind of what you were hoping would happen season opener at Dover?
I didn't think it would happen at all. No, I'm fast here, like with qualifying and stuff, but I kind of learned how to do the pace thing from Bentley, so it paid off. I raced them in the beginning. Once I figured out, that I was in the lead, I just kind of ran the same pace as the guys behind me and didn't burn my stuff up.
Yeah, it looked like you were able to work through that lap traffic as well. Were able to catch them at just the right moments and able to stay out on that last stint, 76 laps or so?
Yeah, I told him I was going to do it. The guys in my channel with me, I was like, I'm not pitting. I've got the gas, and you can pit. And who's Schmeier pit? He was running second for a long time, and he only made it back up to 6th place, which is awesome. I mean, he made up both of the laps, but still, it's I don't know. I knew I had the gas, so I was like, I'm just going to stay out. I don't see a reason to pit.
Yeah, at one point we saw during the broadcast that he was gaining about a second and a half or so a lap, but with only so many laps left, Didn't think he was going to have enough time, especially dealing with lap traffic.
Nah, the way I figured it out, he would make up one lap easy, and then he'd play heck trying to make up the second one, and he got it right there at the end.
So as the points leader heading into Kansas and looking forward to the rest of the season, is it kind of nice to get this win out of the way and focus more on just
betcha, man.
racing for fun a little bit?
Yeah, I'm always, if you're not racing, everybody races, does this. We do it because we love to do it. But if you're not racing to win, what's the point? But, no, I'm happy. My thing is I'm decent, and I'm a top fiver at best. So anytime I can get a win, especially against these guys in this league, it's a good thing.
Well, congrats on your season opening win here at Dover. Anybody you want to thank on that truck tonight?
Oh, thank all my guys. Let's see, we have Freddie, Troy, Austin was hanging out, Ross, Bentley, Charlie, James, PK. If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. I love you anyway. You guys, for putting this on, I can't wait to watch it. I just got the Starlink so I can actually stream it. And, of course, Bob, and for putting this deal on for us again. And I forgot what's 47th season, I think he said, but just, all that stuff. And, my family for supporting me and doing this crazy stuff. And that's it, man. I appreciate you.
Awesome, Jeff. Well, I look forward to many more races.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to you again.
Yes, sir. Also wanted to throw a shout out to Ryan and Kyle for their podiums, and Bob got that top 5 and Wayne in the top 5, and Jeff for almost making another lap up. That was good, but appreciate you, man. I hope you have a good rest of your week.
You too.
So that was your race winner, Jeff Hollingsworth. And Mike, about as successful an opening round to the season as you could possibly get.
Yeah, he came here and he dominated, so look forward to see what these guys can do when we head to Kansas and also when we start switching it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing we haven't mentioned yet, we're talking about first time running 2 different cars in one season. This is the first time I believe I can remember, at least since we started broadcasting these guys. We're running super speedways this season. We're running Talladega, round number 3 of the season, and then the end of the first half of the season is going to be at Daytona. So a lot of surprises and twists and turns that we are going to have this season here for the Western States Racing League, and we are glad that you are here to join us for it, and that we are here once again to bring it to you. But right now we will take a look at the finishing order here for tonight's race. Jeff Hollingsworth, a win in dominating fashion. Ryan Steele, Kyle McCartney, your podium finishers, Bob Beltrami and Wayne Hutchinson coming home on the podium. Jeff Schmeier, Javier Torres, Dennis Fuson, Rob Gall, and Charles Woods rounding out the top 10. Bentley Glaser, Ross Rawlings, Eric Woods, Christian Bishop, and David Weaver rounding out the top half, plus a couple of the field here tonight.
Yep, then you got Brian Barnes, Dustin Burns, Wayne Fleet, Keith Kelman, and Paul Krumrei round out the top 20. Earl Weaver, James Campbell, James Durer, Troy Campbell, Angelo Espo in 25th round out the gentleman who made the start. And Fred Williams basically started and parked it there in 26th.
And so that will officially do it for us here tonight. We welcome you into the new year. Still going to be light on races for a little while, but once we get into February, especially into February and March, we are going to have a lot of action coming your way again here on Sim Racing Media. A lot of seasons are going to be starting up in the not-so-distant future. So an off day tomorrow. Then on Thursday, it'll be the Svenska E-Racing League and back in action in the Cup cars for their first race of the new year. So for my broadcast partner, Mike Damoni, my name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you all next week from Kansas. Good night, everybody.